An abrupt halt to mail service.
You know, they picked up packages earlier in the day. All of those packages are in limbo now until the strike is resolved.
Small businesses say another Canada Post strike is simply too disruptive. Plus, a push to protect babies from RSV.
This was a whole different realm and something that was much more terrifying than anything else we had ever been through.
Immunizations do exist, so why don't most Alberta babies qualify?
There's a huge difference in the different provinces and what is available and how it's being used.
And a cyclist with a real vision.
I just made some drawing around Mount Royal University. Out of the blue, it looks like a horse.
Maps with meaning to help him explore his new home and encourage others to get active.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Darren Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. The constituency office of Alberta's education minister was the site of a protest today over growing classroom concerns. Parents and teachers say they want less crowding and more funding. The province argues that's exactly what it's offering. We'll learn soon if union members agree. Here's Tim Brooke.
Outside of the education minister's office, a call to action from educators and parents.
The math isn't that difficult. When you don't fund schools and you don't fund education, you're not going to have the kind of quality that, all students deserve.
They want more teachers hired, more schools built, and more funding transparency. It's all right there in a letter delivered straight to Demetrius Nicolaides' office.
So we've written to the minister. We've written to the minister over and over and over again, and crickets.
And it wasn't just a protest and letter. The group is also organizing beyond Friday.
I'm going to help the teachers by supporting a recall campaign as they strike. Help them understand this isn't just about wages. This is about looking after kids and making sure that long-term we actually have a system that functions.
This teacher is set on passing letters from her colleagues to the province. Somehow,
we have 150 letters of teachers from our local, and they're just sharing their experiences and the realities of what classrooms look like today in Alberta.
The possibility of a strike still looms large despite a tentative agreement between the union and province. The Alberta Teachers Association is not endorsing the deal, only saying it is now in teachers' hands. The man who led that union during the last strike has a guess on where it's going.
The last time when teachers went on strike, it was nothing compared to the anger that I'm seeing out there now in 2025. I mean, no exaggeration. This is quantum levels above.
For its part, the Education Ministry pointed to new investment in school construction and renovation as part of its dedication to the system. A statement says the province is doing its best to keep up with historic student growth. Some believe it's still not nearly enough.
And my worry is that if this isn't addressed, we're going to lose a lot of good people from this profession.
And Tim is outside of Southwest High School tonight. Tim, voting on the new tentative agreement starts tomorrow.
Yes, educators will be voting all weekend, Tara, on that new deal, which does now include COVID vaccine coverage, but remains unchanged on things like salary increases and hiring commitments. Teachers we chatted with today say this new deal feels awfully similar to one they've already rejected, and so for that reason, they do not believe it will be accepted. We should know around this time on Monday night whether it goes through or not. And, well, I don't have to remind viewers, Tara, they all know that if that deal is denied and if no alternative deal can be reached, teachers will be striking on October 6th.
Okay, Tim Brooke reporting. Tim, thank you. Canada Post workers are once again on the picket line, this time in immediate response to demands from the federal government to dramatically reduce service and shrink management. Union officials say they just want a fair deal, but many small businesses tell us they just want delivery reliability. Here's Stephanie Thomas.
An estimated 2,500 postal workers in Calgary are now on strike. Action taken after Ottawa's call to end door-to-door delivery within 9 years. The government also called for the closure of some rural post offices and changes to the expected delivery time frame. It will now take longer for mail delivery.
We know that the small businesses are the engine of our economy, and we want Canada Post to be there for them, and we will provide a service if Canada Post can provide us with a contract that we can ratify.
While Canada Post prepares a new contract offer, there is no sign Ottawa will step in to end the job action. For some local businesses, the strike is adding a real strain.
So now we have to talk to our customers, explain what's going on. Some of those customers are going to be frustrated. They're going to want us to refund them or cancel their order.
Having been through this last November, the store has a backup plan to use more expensive shippers.
We want to support the Canada Post workers and the union. I believe in organized labor, but you got to understand that we can only bear so much on your behalf.
The Calgary Chamber of Commerce is also calling for a swift end to the strike.
This comes at a time where small businesses' resilience is really being tested, and many are already thinking about the holiday season and being able to bring in shipments that they can then be able to deliver on through the holiday season.
When postal workers went on strike last year, the estimated hit to Canadian small businesses is more than $1 billion.
And Stephanie joins us from the picket line tonight. Stephanie, this must also be having an impact on the upcoming civic election.
Tara, Elections Calgary says that voter information cards were mailed out earlier this week, but many did not arrive at their intended addresses. A reminder that voter information cards are not required to vote. Now, information about where you can cast your ballot, that is available at electionscalgary.ca. Now, for those who want to mail in their ballots, well, those will be couriered out to voters by request, but to return them, that's on the voter's dime. Tara?
Okay, Stephanie, thank you. The Alberta Court of Appeal has dismissed the appeal by a Calgary man who stabbed 5 people to death in 2014. Matthew DeGrood was found not criminally responsible after 5 young people were killed at a house party in the northwest neighborhood of Brentwood. He was appealing a ruling by the Alberta Review Board in 2024, saying he would pose a significant threat to the safety of the public. The appeals court agreed and cited DeGrood's dependence on olanzapine, a drug used to treat schizophrenia. DeGrood's annual review will come up again in November. Sundre RCMP have a suspect in custody after a shelter-in-place order was issued at 9:30 this morning. Police say there was a report of a man with a gun wandering around the community. Schools were locked down and school buses did not operate. Residents were told to stay inside and not open their doors to anyone. An hour later, Mounties lifted the order after taking a person into custody. Edmonton police have released video of a street racing meetup. They ticketed dozens of drivers at the event on Sunday for stunting and equipment violations. Police in Edmonton and Calgary have been cracking down on street racing lately. Calgary police say they have seen more incidents since new provincial rules for photo radar came into effect, limiting where the technology can be used. It has been now nearly a week since 6-year-old Darius McDougall disappeared. RCMP and search and rescue teams have been scouring an area in the Crow's Nest Pass since Sunday, trying to find the little boy who got separated from family members near his backcountry campsite. Despite finding no signs of Darius, searchers are not giving up. Here's Carson Marsouk.
120 search and rescue members, RCMP, and conservation officers have been combing day and night through dense brush and steep terrain since Sunday to find Darius McDougall.
Today, we have additional resources on site, which includes 60 TSG RCMP officers, which is our tactical support group. Their main role will be to supplement our already happening search efforts.
And that number is only expected to grow through the weekend as crews continue to search on foot, in the sky, using drones that play his favorite song, and canines to find Darius. The little boy has autism, which has affected search efforts, like avoiding loud noises. Adam Kennedy says search and rescue crews on horseback have been brought in.
We've asked for all available resources across both British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. The nature of STAR volunteers, we anticipate seeing more volunteers available as we go into the weekend and expect to see those numbers bolstered.
The RCMP says Darius was walking with family members when he somehow became separated from the other children Sunday morning near the Alberta-BC boundary. Search efforts will continue through the weekend, but so far not a single clue, footprint, piece of clothing, or speck of blood has been found. Crews have searched 7 square kilometers, with some pathway searches being complete to 10 kilometers from where Darius was last seen.
There's a a whole lot of science that goes into the background of the search. They continue to use statistical analysis to determine where Darius may have traveled to and continue to focus the search area based on that statistical analysis.
Still, crews aren't giving up.
Everybody is still very optimistic. They are still out searching and aren't giving up.
Carson Marsuk, CTV News, Crow's Nest.
A community support center is set up at the curling rink in Blairmore to give a safe place where concerned community members can support each other.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
We are heading into a beautiful weekend. Danielle joins us now. So what sort of night lies ahead for us?
Well, you know this pattern that we've been going through this entire week, teens, 20s, that continues through the weekend. So we were in the teens today. Our high was 18 in the city. We're now at 17. Check this out, this live shot. Nice blue sky. Winds have picked up a little bit, so we've had some gusty moments. At this point, the gust is 35 kilometers per hour that's registering at the airport. So yeah, up to 40 kilometers per hour for these next couple of hours on and off, and then it will quiet down for the overnight. But tomorrow we will be back into the 20s, 21 for our daytime high. A little more cloud cover expected though for tomorrow, and windy again later in the day. Tara?
Thank you, Danielle. A newcomer to Calgary is exploring his adopted city in a very unique way. He's turning his bike rides into art and mapping out designs on his GPS app. As Mark Villani reports, the cyclist is using his pedal power to connect with community members over hundreds of kilometers.
Alfonso Quintero is gearing up for a bike ride. And while it's his main way of getting around, it's also a creative outlet.
I just have a map from the pathway and try to go as far as I can.
The 46-year-old moved to Calgary from Barranquilla, Colombia just 6 months ago. Back home, he was known for leading a cycling team that spent hours designing and riding along these unique GPS-tracked routes on the social media app Strava. More than 50 of them, including this cute dog, a rose, an image of a praying monk, even a T-Rex. Quintero decided to bring the hobby with him to his new city.
Just spend my day sketching, and maybe like a challenge. It was like a challenge to do some drawings.
Drawings as simple as a maple leaf, which took him just under 2 hours to complete, and more complex ones like a pair of boots in honor of the Calgary Stampede. He's been putting on hundreds of kilometers, but his latest creation is a masterpiece.
I've been around McDougall Stadium. I have seen a couple of practices.
Practices from the Calgary Stampeders of the Canadian Football League. Their skills inspired Quintero to design a bike route featuring the club's iconic galloping horse logo, a more than 40-kilometer route spanning much of the city. Other cyclists say they're amazed.
I think it's a pretty creative way of getting around and touring the city, actually. We got a great bike path system, and it's great to take advantage of it.
I actually thought it was a longer ride, but it looks doable. Yeah, I will try it if I had the crew to go with.
And as he learns the lay of the land, Quintero says Calgary offers something he never experienced back home.
There's so much respect here for the biker.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
And Quintero says he plans to keep adding new designs to his Calgary collection, one pedal at a time. CTV Calgary has received a couple of high honors from our peers. The Radio Television Digital News Association has awarded CTV News at 6 with its Best Newscast Award for the Prairie region. We've been honored for our newscast on June 6th last year, the day the feeder main from the Bearspaw water treatment plant broke. We provided extensive team coverage of the incident. And we have won the Best Video Journalist Story Award for Kevin Green's story on the volunteer-run harvest of fresh vegetables for the Calgary Food Bank. Kevin's creative shooting and editing techniques impressed the judges. Just ahead, calling for awareness about a very risky respiratory illness. Vaccines for RSV are available, but most Alberta babies don't qualify, and doctors say they really should. And remembering Dr. Darren Markland, friends gather to honor the well-known ICU physician and cycling enthusiast. In BC, hundreds of properties are now on evacuation order as an out-of-control wildfire is burning near Peachland. Helicopters are dumping water on the blaze, which has grown to about 220 hectares. 325 properties have been ordered evacuated, while more than 1,100 are on evacuation alert. A Calgary mother whose baby was hospitalized due to a common virus is sharing her story in hopes of warning other families heading into the respiratory illness season. She's not alone either. A group of Canadian doctors wants RSV protection for babies across the country. Alicia Fieldberg explains.
Katrina Bellevance's daughter was 7 weeks old when she was diagnosed with respiratory syncytial virus.
It was pretty scary. We got the diagnosis in the hospital after rushing her in the middle of the night because she couldn't breathe.
Her daughter was on oxygen in the hospital for 4 days. The mother of 3 had heard about RSV but didn't know it's the leading cause of infant hospitalizations in Canada.
She went to bed completely fine, and at 3 a.m. she had to go to emergency.
Back then, treatments to protect babies against RSV were not available in Canada, but they are now.
We have now 2 products available to prevent infant RSV, especially prevent hospitalizations and severe outcomes.
A vaccine is offered to mothers late in pregnancy to protect newborns, and an antibody can be given to infants. Alberta only offers RSV protection to high-risk infants, but experts say most severe cases are in healthy, full-term babies.
So 2 out of 100 babies end up hospitalized with RSV if they're born in Canada in the first year of life. That's huge impact.
2 provinces and 1 territory began offering RSV immunizations for all infants in 2024. Now 3 others are too. Federation of Medical Women of Canada want RSV protection for babies across the country. They say the immunizations are safe and effective.
From the initial studies, but also from the real world data from other places, that they're very, very protective. So we're talking, 70 to 80% protection against RSV hospitalization in the baby.
While most infants recover from RSV, it can have permanent effects, and having a child in the hospital can be traumatic for families. Bellevance hopes her story can make a difference for others.
And to have those conversations with their healthcare providers about what they can do to prevent RSV, because it really is so scary when children are that young. If it can prevent any small babies from being in the hospital, that's the end goal.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
CTV reached out to Alberta's Ministry of Health asking if the province might expand its RSV immunization coverage. It says an analysis is underway. Now, if a pregnant woman wants the RSV vaccine, she should speak with her doctor, but she'll have to pay out of pocket for it. Alberta does offer free RSV vaccines to people who are 70 years of age or older. The University of Calgary is hoping to improve patient care through a new center focused on medical data. It's called the Nelson Precision Medicine and Learning Health Systems Center for Innovation, or the Pulse Center, at the Cummings School of Medicine. The center gathers all of the data from medical tests like medical imaging or ECGs and combines them with lab data and medication to help improve health outcomes. The head of the center believes this could help transform the way people get care.
For a patient, it means that we'll be able to deliver care more effectively, more efficiently for them. As they come into hospital, we'll be making those diagnoses quicker and more effectively. But for people that are doing research, it allows them to discover new diseases and new ways to treat diseases far quicker than they have been able to in the past.
The center recently received a $12 million donation by a university alumni. That funding will let them look at strokes, critical care, women's health, and more. HealthLink 811 is celebrating 25 years this month.
HealthLink, Kaylee speaking. I'm a registered nurse. How can I help?
Since HealthLink first launched in September of 2000, more than 27 million people have called 811. The program started in Edmonton with 40 registered nurses. Now there are more than 800 people employed in Calgary and Edmonton. With more than 1 million people dialing in the last fiscal year alone, the service is adjusting to help people calling, such as introducing AI.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
Spring Danielle, Becky knows we look ahead to our weekend forecast.
We made it to the weekend, Tara. We did okay. All right. The weekend looks good, one warmer day than the other. So Saturday will be a warmer one. We talked about this teens, 20s, and we've been back and forth each day. Today we were in the teens. We got up to 18 degrees in the city. We're now down to 17. It's quite a difference from yesterday where it was significantly warmer, especially in the far south. So Brooks, Lethbridge, Milk River were in the 30s at this time yesterday. Not quite so today. Lower 20s, as you can see, and we may be done with the 30s for the most part for all communities now that we're really starting to get into fall here. It was also a windy day. Check out the maximum wind gusts in Pincher Creek, 87 kilometers per hour, and around that 60 mark for Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, and Calgary. Now for these areas, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Calgary, and Brooks, we're looking at 40 kilometer per hour gusts possible later in the day tomorrow. So still windy, but less windy, and maximum of 60 in Pincher Creek and Crow's Nest Pass. So an improvement. All right, cold tonight, dropping to that freezing mark. Hannah, Youngstown, Cereal, Coronation. So these are the areas under the frost advisory for tonight because of that. All right, radar and satellite. Here's a system tracking towards us. The mountains, though, are going to keep all that moisture mainly on the BC side. It will creep over to the north, but for us in the southern part, we're really just looking at getting some cloud cover and again some winds at times. So less windy tomorrow, but still a little breezy in the afternoon, up to 40 kilometers per hour. And then here's a look at tomorrow. Mainly cloudy in the morning with some sunny breaks, and then in the afternoon we should see more sunny breaks. We'll still have cloud cover on Sunday, but we should see less cloud cover on Sunday compared to Saturday. Okay, so how does this play out in the long range forecast? 21 degrees for tomorrow, so yes, back in the 20s, a beautiful day to be outside with a good amount of cloud cover, but some sunny breaks at times, especially in the afternoon, and then the clouds starting to clear out Sunday. 16 though is a high on Sunday because we're looking at those winds starting to come out of the north, so the temperatures will not be able to get quite as high. Back into the 20s for Monday. It's a fun little game Mother Nature's doing here. But fall is the transitional season, so this is common. And then rain possible Monday night. And then for National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, 17 degrees is our high. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. There was an emotional gathering of friends and colleagues mourning the death of Dr. Darren Markland today in Edmonton. They're carrying on a tradition the popular doctor, cyclist, and science communicator started a decade ago to meet outdoors for coffee and share some time together. CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports.
A collage of bicycles, coffee, and community takes over at Zio Ferrone Park in the morning light. Hugs all around as people gather to remember Darren Markland.
He'd probably reiterate that people should bike more.
The avid cyclist and intensive care doctor started this Friday morning tradition 10 years ago. He died Sunday after a mountain bike crash near Nordegg.
It happens every single Friday, even in the wintertime. He was usually here with his e-bike, making coffee for people, and just an incredible human being. So we're all here gathered to celebrate him and support each other as a community.
Markland's friends and acquaintances say he had a love for the outdoors and a passion for medicine and science.
Another passion was just connecting with people, right? I mean, he did it every day at work. And in a very harsh environment in the intensive care unit.
Markland's public profile ballooned during the pandemic.
As a physician, I take pride in my ability to deliver really good care, but our system is completely overwhelmed.
And I think that was a really important role that touched a lot of people, and it really helped a lot of people, that he was vulnerable about the experiences.
He also wrote about those experiences on social media. On the 3rd anniversary of the WHO's pandemic declaration, he wrote, "I have compressed decades of emotions into this short span, only to emerge more attuned to suffering and disparity. It ain't good, but I've learned to be a better human."
We were supposed to grow old together, and I'm really mad that we're not, but, you know, he lived on his terms.
Markland leaves behind a wife and 2 sons, an extended family, and countless friends. One of his final posts captured the beauty of biking in Edmonton in the fall and the eloquent language he was known for, even more poignant after his death. Though the encroaching darkness fills me with regret, I am comforted by autumn's light and enthralled by my path home. Darren Markland was 54. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
Still to come, the PM kicks off trade talks with world leaders in London. Mark Carney hoping to strengthen economic ties where he can outside the United States. And an inspiring story about a well-known member of Canmore's mountain biking and accessibility community is coming to the big screen. Prime Minister Mark Carney is in the UK for a summit to boost trade and economic ties. But his meeting with Canada's oldest ally sparked a friendly rivalry over one of Britain's oldest sports. CTV Jeremy Sharon reports from London.
A fourth official face-to-face with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer for Mark Carney kicked off a visit to London.
Well, it's going to be a great match. Yep. And we're going to disagree. Agree to disagree.
Despite a friendly rivalry ahead of a big women's rugby match Saturday, the two leaders set their sights on shared defence priorities.
We've got Ukraine to discuss, we've got the Middle East to discuss, and thank you for the way we've been able to work together on both those issues.
Great pleasure to be together again.
The Prime Minister also met with the leaders of Iceland, Spain, and Australia.
We are partners in commerce, we're partners in culture.
Actually, we actually have pretty similar economies.
Talks that all centered around building trade and economic partnerships, an area British Ambassador Ralph Goodale says Canada and the UK can still build on.
We've got $50 billion worth of trade flowing back and forth, and it is 99% tariff and quota-free.
Canada is looking to diversify its international partnerships in the face of Donald Trump's trade war. The U.S. president leveraged new tariffs Thursday on a wide range of imported goods, including heavy-duty trucks and pharmaceuticals. Still, Carney today shied away from directly taking aim at the U.S. president.
You face special circumstances in Canada, given your neighbor to the south, and let me just apologize.
Instead, he shared with a progressive crowd at this summit how he won the April election.
So it's not engaging on the turf of the more negative agenda, but focusing on the positive.
All of it capped off with a dinner at 10 Downing Street, FaceTime with like-minded world leaders, the real focus of this trip, according to senior government officials. The Prime Minister will meet tomorrow with business leaders and investors before taking his Canadian pride to a London rugby pitch. Carney is set to attend the Women's Rugby World Cup to cheer on Canada against England in the final. Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, London.
Well, climbing Everest would be hard enough. This athlete did it without oxygen just so he could ski down it. Our trending videos are next. A well-known mountain biker and trail builder in Canmore is featured in an inspiring new documentary that follows his powerful journey of recovery and resilience. Matt Hadley became an amputee after a life-changing accident, but has turned tragedy into trailblazing change, both on and off the mountain. As Terry Fikowski reports, his story is now hitting the big screen with its Alberta premiere this weekend.
If you've hiked on a trail in the Canmore area, it's likely one Matt Hadley had a hand designing. He also loves to ride them. He and his wife each ranked among the top mountain bikers in the country. But in 2019, a devastating accident changed everything. While hiking with his wife in Utah, a basketball-sized boulder dislodged off a 200-meter high cliff, striking his right leg.
Within seconds, my life changed.
First faced with death, then uncertainty about what his future looked like as an amputee.
There were some dark, challenging moments there of just figuring out what I was capable of and how to do it. And yeah, figure out ways to get back to sport and just regular life.
His remarkable recovery, resilience, and ability to reimagine trails is featured in the new documentary, Trailblazing, the Matt Hadley story. The now 42-year-old is an elite adaptive athlete and uses his own experiences to improve inclusivity on paths in the region as a trail technician.
There's been a number of projects I've been able to bring that accessibility lens. That's extremely empowering.
Hadley has also improved safety and lowered risk during the redesign of well-known trails like Haling and Yamneska. His lasting impact in the community is what compelled emerging Canmore filmmaker Kim Logan to share his story.
Films like Trailblazing help change the narrative from pity and amazement to respect and representation. And I hope that Trailblazing helps spark conversations about who belongs in the outdoors.
It's already well received, with one international award since its world debut in May and now set to premiere in Alberta. And while it has been difficult for Hadley to relive his worst moments, he's hopeful it will encourage others facing theirs.
In its own way, it probably helped with the healing. People can overcome most anything in their life.
Terry Fikowski, CTV News in Canmore.
Trailblazing, the Matt Hadley story, will screen at the Edmonton International Film Festival on Sunday, this Sunday, September 28th. All right, well, speaking of elite athletes like Matt, an athlete from Poland has become the first person to ski down Mount Everest without using an oxygen tank.
To give you some context, if you look at the history of climbing Everest, only 1.8% of summits were ever achieved without the use of supplemental oxygen.
Okay, so 37-year-old Andre Bargiel, of course, had to climb the mountain first, and the climb took longer than expected. It took about 16 hours because of heavy snow. His team says he really only spent a few minutes at the top before strapping on his skis and racing back down. The whole ski run totaled 8,849 meters.
That is amazing.
That's intense. Incredible.
Holy.
Imagine how exhausted he would have been when he reached the top with his skis on his back and then...
You got to put the skis on and go down.
Yeah. Wow.
You gotta like your skiing.
Yeah. Guinness officials are working to determine if 2,500 people in Pretoria, South Africa, have broken a grilling world record.
We are doing it internationally today. Are you ready for us to break the record? The world's biggest braai.
We're having a braai. A braai is a traditional South African barbecue. The goal was to set the record for the most people grilling at once in the same place. They did it in honor of South Africa's Heritage Day. The previous record was over 2,200 people set in Japan in 2023.
Now that would be fun to be at.
Wouldn't it? You can smell that story, and it smells good.
Good that would smell.
Yep.
And no matter where you look, there's food.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty fantastic.
Well, if you're looking to expand your vocabulary, this guy is here to help.
I'm burnt out. I'm completely drained. I feel entirely depleted. I've reached the point of complete exhaustion.
Well, everybody works hard, and now you can have a million different ways to say it. You're burnt out. That's just the basic. You can go formal. You can sound more academic, all the way to Victorian English. Because you know what? There is a way to express that you're feeling overworked, but still sound fancy about it.
I love that.
He's got a million different ways to say it. You could probably give him any problem, and he'll give you a few ways to say it.
Let's study these and go into the boss.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, still to come tonight, the Wild Kingdom comes to the city. Video to show you of a pack of coyotes chasing down a bear. Stay with us.
Skywatch weather camera on a stunning day. Yes, it's a little breezy right now and not as warm as yesterday, but it's still a very nice fall day. And if you're missing the 20s, don't worry, that comes every other day so far, including for tomorrow. 17 is that current temperature as we start to dip down for the evening. 18 degrees was our daytime high. Believe it or not, we did get to 30 a long time ago on this day, back in 1952. All right, temperatures right now, difference today. Of course, today is one of the cooler ones because these areas were in the 30s yesterday and we were at 24 in the city yesterday and we only got to 18 today. So this is a cooler one, but then we bounce back for tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a warmer one once again. We'll have some cloud cover. You can see what's tracking in from the west. While the mountains will keep the moisture to the west, we'll have some cloud cover push on in tomorrow. So mainly cloudy with sunny breaks. Not quite as cold in the morning hours tomorrow, 11 degrees. And then tomorrow a high of 21 in the afternoon. A little windy later in the afternoon with gusts around 40 kilometers per hour, but that's out of the right direction, out of the southwest, which is why we'll get these warmer temperatures tomorrow. And then the winds will switch on Sunday out of the north again. And then that's why we're only going to get to the teens on Sunday. All right, that's your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free. Little look around. Kamloops 23 for tomorrow. Edmonton just 18 for tomorrow. Into the lower 20s. While that says 21 for Calgary, more like 23, 24. 21 for Coronation, 23 for High River tomorrow, 24 for Lethbridge, 26 for Medicine Hat. Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. Alberta teachers will vote on a tentative agreement between their union and the province this weekend. Today, protesters gathered outside the Education Minister's office. They're concerned about overcrowded classrooms and underfunding. If the tentative deal is rejected, teachers could walk off the job in 10 days. A Calgary mom is raising awareness about RSV after her baby was hospitalized. Treatments to protect babies against RSV were not available in Canada 2 years ago when her daughter was sick, but they are now, though most babies don't qualify. A vaccine can be offered to mothers late in pregnancy to protect newborns if they wish to pay for it. And some local businesses are scrambling now that Canada Post workers have walked off the job. Owners are worried the strike will stretch into the crucial holiday season, hurting their bottom line. Canada faces a more complex and dangerous security landscape than at any time since the end of the Second World War. A conference in Calgary suggests strengthening our Navy is a good first step to keep ahead of those threats. Conference delegates say during the Cold War, the enemies were clear, but new technologies opened Canada up to threats from non-state actors and infrastructure sabotage. Canada is building submarines and destroyers and encouraging Canadians to enlist in the Navy, but it's operating in a state of catch-up.
Naval vessel, a submarine in particular, is the most complex thing that a human can build. This is as complex as a space shuttle. There is nothing harder to build than a submarine. Thankfully, we've got a bit of a runway. The National Shipbuilding Strategy has been going for well over a decade now, and we have shipyards turning out new vessels at a pretty regular clip.
Delegates agree Prime Minister Mark Carney has the political will to follow through on what's necessary to strengthen Canada's maritime security. Data from Statistics Canada shows the economy rebounded in July following 3 consecutive months of decline. Stats Canada says real gross domestic product grew by 0.2%, the first increase in 4 months. Mining and oil and gas extraction sectors led the growth that was somewhat tempered by a decline in retail trade. Early numbers show that real GDP was essentially unchanged in August. More tariffs were announced by Washington this week. Here's BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez.
Washington's imposing another round of tariffs, this time on pharmaceuticals and furniture. The U.S. president shared the news online, saying imported drugs would face a 100% duty starting October 1st. There will also be a 50% markup on imported cabinets and a 30% markup for upholstered furniture. Here's a look at how the trading day ended. The Canadian dollar hasn't changed much. It's at 71.75. West Texas Intermediate is up to 65.32. Western Canadian Select barely moved. It's at 53.15, and the TSX is up 29 points today to 29.761. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
A team of University of British Columbia researchers has developed a fungi-forward toilet that mimics the natural cycle of nature. Inside UBC's Botanical Garden is the world's first mushroom-powered, waterless, eco-friendly toilet. The Myco toilet separates liquids from solids using wooden sticks to simulate human waste. They fall into a mycelium or fungus root container where it breaks down and dries out. Researchers say it's a natural way to convert human excrement into nutrient-dense soil. As for the liquid waste, it's captured in a tank where it self-sterilizes to eventually be used for irrigation.
It's the cycle of life in the forest, and people who experience that come closer to that process. And so the hope is that we're connecting people who come to the botanical gardens to that full experience, that circular experience. And, that goes beyond science.
As for the smell, researchers say fungi is also great at absorbing odors. The Myco toilet will now be piloted with real users for 6 weeks. Wildlife encounters are nothing new for many people in BC, but this video captured in Port Coquitlam looks like something out of the wild. That's a black bear being chased down by a pack of coyotes in a Walmart parking lot. The video was captured by Andre Chan, who just happens to be a hobbyist wildlife photographer. The coyotes were in hot pursuit for about 10 minutes before eventually losing interest and giving up. Wow. Stamps are playing in Montreal tonight. They are looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. Glenn has the highlights for us. That's next. The blackout of Jimmy Kimmel appears to be over. Sinclair and Nexstar, the 2 major station groups that preempted the talk show earlier this month, are allowing the show to return to their ABC affiliates starting tonight. It means that Kimmel will be seen again in major cities like Washington, Nashville, and Seattle, as well as several dozen other markets. The Calgary Stampeders hit the road for 3 games. Glenn is back with us. Glenn, it all starts tonight in Montreal.
Tara, it's been a real struggle for the Stampeders the last couple of games. Losses to Edmonton and BC, but they're looking to right the ship against the Alouettes tonight. We're going to pick it up in the first quarter. Owls up 4-0, but the Stamps marching, and Vernon Adams finds Jalen Philpott in the end zone. Good to see the offense moving the ball. Stamps with a 7-4 lead, but the Owls are answer right back. Davis Alexander looking for Charleston Rambo down the sidelines. Makes a great catch there. Takes it into the end zone. Montreal back in front, 11-7. Owls add to the lead on their next possession in the red zone. Shea Patterson keeps it himself, takes it into the end zone. Montreal up 18-7. Now, late in the half, Stamps driving the ball again, and this time Adams is going to decide to keep it himself from the 20-yard line. Take a look at this run. It's a great one. He's going to take it in for the major score. So all of a sudden, we've got an 18-14 ball game, but the Owls have scored in the third quarter, so it's 25-14 right now. Ryder Cup, one of the best golf events in the world. Europe up against the United States, and it all got underway today at Bethpage Black in Farmingdale, New York. It was all Europe in the morning foursomes. First off, John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton bring down Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas 4 and 3. Matt Fitzpatrick and Ludwig Aberg had no trouble defeating Scotty Scheffler and Russell Henley 5 and 3. And that was the final in that match. And the Fleetwood Mac back together again. Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood took down Colin Morikawa and Harris English 5 and 4. Euros led 3-1 after the morning foursomes. Could the Americans turn things around in the afternoon? 4-ball. Well, it looked good early. Cameron Young and Thomas had no problem with Aberg and Rasmus Højgaard, beating them 6 and 5. But this is a tough European squad. Sepp Straka and Rahm up against Scheffler and J.J. Spaun. Straka puts this one away on 16. Europe wins 3 and 2. Justin Rose pairing with Fleetwood in the afternoon. They took down DeChambeau and Ben Griffin. Rose sticks it to them on the 18th with the bird. Europe had another point on the board. And in the final match, Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry end up all square against Cantlay and Sam Burns. So Europe heads into day 2 up 5.5 to 2.5. And here's what the captains had to say after day 1.
Yeah, incredible day. I think to win this morning was huge for us, and we all know how important it is to get off to a good start. And we knew how strong the US were in foursomes, so 3-1 was a great start. And then to win those top 2 especially, there was such good momentum and inspiration for our boys. And then the guys grinded to win the session again this afternoon. That's another tick in our box, and I'm very happy where we are.
Yeah, well, the boys played really good this afternoon. Europe made a lot of putts. Happy with the way we're playing. Hopefully it'll turn. Our putts will go in tomorrow. We've only played 28% of the points this first quarter. We still got 3 quarters to go. I got a lot of faith in my boys.
Tough day for 2 of the top players from the United States. Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau go a combined 0 for 4. This is so exciting. I'm like giddy.
Does that mean you won't be out playing golf this weekend because you'll be at home watching
play golf? But
okay.
But
you have it on your phone while you're playing, I guess.
That's a lot of different levels of golf for you this weekend.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
You might as well. We have the weekend for it, right? You got to get it all in while you can. There's not a whole lot of 20s left in our forecast this year. So 21 for tomorrow, mainly cloudy, but there will be some sunny breaks. And then we dip down to 16 on Sunday, back to the 20s for Monday, and back to the teens for Tuesday. Okay, weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. And Stan Williams sent this in from Canmore, 3 Sisters, and I believe this was his view this morning. Can I?
Beautiful shot, Stan.
Oh.
Thanks for your company tonight. Have a terrific weekend.